Is democracy a lie? The debate about the meaning and functioning of democracy in society has always existed. However, over the years, the term has been used to meet the needs of those who govern, and not with the intention of giving society a voice when it comes to electing its rulers. In addition, the majority of society is unaware of the real implications of the democratic system. For a healthy democracy to work, there must be certain principles that must be followed. Among them are respect for human rights, political plurality and tolerance, respect for the rule of law, and citizen participation. However, it seems that today the basic principles of democracy have been replaced by the desire for power and by personal and institutional interests. Thinkers such as Socrates and Plato pointed out that in a democracy with broad freedoms, difficulties could arise, including access to power by less qualified individuals. These observations continue to be discussed in the contemporary context, where challenges such as the possibility of tyranny, lack of information, and populism in democratic systems are identified. In addition, democracy has been used as a facade by authoritarian regimes, not to mention the number of times democracy has been misused for political purposes, especially in developing countries. Unfortunately, it seems that populism and demagoguery are the new tools that, in the name of democracy, are used to manipulate and divide society, or to access and maintain power. Politicians use simplistic messages to influence public opinion, generating division and confusion without prioritizing the real well-being of the population. Political indoctrination in democracy. Indoctrination is not exclusive to religion, but also to politics, where it is used to control thought and reduce the critical capacity of the population. Politicians use indoctrination as a tool not only to obtain personal benefits, but also to impose ideologies and to present a false version of what democracy is, demonizing their opponents, creating a narrative of internal enemies that divides society. In addition to indoctrination, the political class also employs other mechanisms to maintain social control. To do this, they use repetitive discourses and the manipulation of information to keep the population entertained and distracted, reducing their critical capacity and promoting social division as a strategy of power. Unfortunately, the complicity between politicians and journalists cannot be overlooked. Many media outlets abandon ethics to function as propaganda machines. In addition, social networks amplify disinformation by making the public believe that talking about populism is talking about democracy. It is also important to mention that many intellectuals who, instead of being critical and balanced voices, align themselves with populist ideologies or leaders, losing their moral and social function. Currently, there is an absence of certain fundamental democratic principles in politics. Phenomena such as corruption, manipulation, and broken promises are frequent, contributing to a distorted perception of democracy used by some political actors. Presently, there are situations in which governments with authoritarian characteristics adopt a deceptive democracy, using methods to achieve power which lack transparency and honesty. This context invites us to carry out a reflective and critical analysis of the political future, but above all, of the functioning of democracy in contemporary society.